So we've had the bomb dropped on us this morning. Amorim sacked, Darren Fletcher set to take interim charge. Amorim now, for me, can have no complaints. You don't obviously be one of the worst managers in the Premier League era, the worst manager United have had in the Premier League era, and that's a fact. You don't get to be in that position and then start to call the shots. Obviously, after that Leeds game, he started to call out the higher-ups a little bit, complain a little bit about the fact that United were lacking the January spends, which obviously is fair enough. United probably should be investing in someone in January. The fact that we were in for Semenyo highlights the fact that United probably do have a little bit of money to spend. But United has always seemed like they were a bit reluctant to really invest in what Amorim was doing. And this is why it always felt like this was an inevitable decision. But INEOS just seemed to keep dragging it out. And I'll talk a bit more about them later on in the video. But Amorim himself, I've said, for me, this was a long time coming. Because yes, while United do sit in 6th in the table and you're looking at it, well, maybe we're not in a terrible position. But you're still looking at it and United are closer to 14th, 15th, 16th than we are to 3rd in the table. So it's just because obviously the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, those teams have had such a bad start to the Premier League season. But Chelsea have got rid of their manager. They've been ruthless. I think United just had to do the same. We were going nowhere. Yes, you can point out some sort of stats that were pointing that Amorim was improving this United team. But overall, for me, you're looking at it, he dragged us to 15th in the table last year and we lost our Europa League final to Spurs. Like, I can't just forget that overnight as what many people wanted me to. But then going into this season, we had that pre-season under our belts. We were playing one game a week. Have things really got a lot better? Not really for me. I'm watching United play and it's the same sort of turgid football that we've seen for so long now. And it's not just in recent weeks where we've had that injury list going on. And obviously had the players going to AFCON, which we also known about for a while. So Amorim complaining about that and United acting as if that was something that's come out of the blue. We knew that Ahmad and Mbeumo and Mazraoui were going to be leaving for quite some time. We just failed to prepare for it. Obviously, that's not just on Amorim, that's on the board as well. But you're looking also for United at the start of the season when we had everyone fit and available. One of the best performances that everyone kept talking about was the loss to Arsenal. But then after that, then United, the results were up and down. We had some good wins up against the likes of Brighton. We had a good win up against Liverpool away from home. But there was nothing really for me that was there. You're looking at it, well, this is a long-term option. Because United, we were still largely going into games with 7 defensive players on the pitch. And you're looking at it, the recent run that we had, and this was with everyone available. I mean, that loss against Everton, that was absolutely shocking. And Amorim didn't paint himself in a very good light. So you're looking at it, his tactics, his in-game management, it's been all over the shop this season. We had that Grimsby game, which everyone just sort of brushed under the carpet and sort of forget about. They blamed the players a lot of the time for that, when it's the same tactical issues in that game that we've been seeing in the Premier League. And you're going into some of the Premier League games then, as I've said, with some of the lineups that we've seen, even the most recent one up against Leeds. Yes, obviously injuries have taken effect. But you've had plenty of time to bed the likes of Shea Lacey and give him some minutes across the last few Premier League games. So you had time to get him ready. Like, surely it would have been a better option other than forcing Dogu into that right 10 position. I mean, hell, you even had Xerxes on the bench. And it showed when he came on how good he was up against Leeds. Didn't do an awful lot in that game. But he just showed what an attacking player can do in that number 10 spot. Rather than just playing a defender in there. And then you're looking at the subs that Amorim has made a lot of the time throughout his time at United. Especially this season, the constant change of the centre-backs. Not really committing to try and get the win. Even up against teams like Wolves. Wolves are one of the worst Premier League teams we've ever seen. And they came to Old Trafford and they easily went toe-to-toe with us. And we've seen that throughout the course of this season now. Everyone United are playing, it's just toss of a coin, 50-50 football. And Amorim has not been here a couple of months. He's been here over a year now, and I'm yet to see big improvements in what he's doing at United. And in fact, he's largely just done the same thing. We've been running this sort of 5 at the back stuff. The one game where we did play a little bit better was the game where we played 4 at the back. Obviously, the game against Newcastle, the first half, that was some of the best football I've seen United play this season. But that goes against everything Amorim is about because he doesn't want to play that system. But this is what gets me on to the United higher-ups. United, we knew exactly what Amorim was about. We knew he was going to play that back five, and even people at United knew that we didn't have the squad to match it. But we still went ahead and brought him in anyway. How can I trust these guys now to pick the next manager of United when they've seemingly got every footballing decision wrong at this club so far? Like the decision to bring in Amorim in the first place was absolutely farcical. Everyone's auntie and their dog knew that we didn't have the players to suit the back five system, yet we still just went ahead and did it. You got rid of so many attacking players, you brought in attacking players in the summer. We knew we were screaming out for midfield recruitment, didn't do it. And then you're looking at it now most recently where obviously Amorim went on that little bit of a good run. We won 3 games in a row. All of a sudden, Wilcox came out of the woodwork and he was doing all these interviews, stating how good, obviously, United looked and how good Amorim was looking. But it's gone a little bit quiet from him over recent weeks, and you can see why. Obviously, Amorim calling him out a little bit after that Leeds game, as I've said, was the nail in the coffin. Because obviously, it was a weird comment by Amorim anyway, talking about how he wanted to be the manager when we all know that he was appointed as the head coach. That was obviously what happened, and that was what we wanted, because after the old Ten Hag farcical situation, we didn't want someone with that much power in charge. But obviously, Amorim knew that when he signed. But these two, Wilcox and Barada, constantly throughout, they've just got every decision wrong. They got rid of Ashworth, forced him out. When Ashworth was one of the ones where you're looking at it, well, he was probably quite sensible. Obviously, he did want to keep Ten Hag, and we could argue that situation. But the fact that he didn't want Amorim in, he's been proved right. And then we started running the stories that obviously Ashworth wanted Southgate and all that sort of stuff, and I'm not so sure how true those stories were. But I said it after the Leeds game, it did seem like Barada especially was promising Amorim things that Wilcox just wasn't willing to keep up with. Because Wilcox got promoted as sporting director where he'd only had a year of experience of it at Southampton in the past. So we're promoting these guys and they're bringing in all their ex-sort of City cronies around the club now. And this is where obviously I don't trust them to not bring Maresca in. But the fact that United haven't jumped straight to him makes me think that they're at least thinking about the situation right now. But you brought in the Amorim. At the end of the day, you brought him in. You knew he was going to play a back five. You knew that was going to be his system. And also the scalability of that system was questioned even before Amorim came in. There was a reason why Liverpool didn't go for him, and there was a reason why quite a few people, obviously the tactical people around football, were questioning the Amorim appointment, whether he could improve himself and obviously get United winning trophies again. Obviously Amorim has proved that a lot of what he was doing, he just sort of copied and pasted that from Sporting and didn't really work on an awful lot. But Wilcox and Barada, you're meant to be these top footballing minds now. Them and Sir Jim, they're meant to be really sorting out the footballing side of things. But so far, they've been absolutely clueless. I'll do another video this week of the sort of tactical issues that I think that really plagued Amorim throughout his time at United. But in this video, I just wanted to sort of vent my frustration a little bit at the United board as well. Obviously, Amorim, for me, he was just out of his depth. He never really had a place at United, and we've seen that over the course of even before the last 6 months. He should have been sacked a long time ago. But obviously, United give him that chance and give him that chance to sort of turn things around. But them sort of forcing him to play that back four, it was all a very, very strange situation. But that just sums up what's gone on at United. Is we thought that obviously the Glazers and Woodward going out to the football side of things would suddenly start to get a bit better. We're getting footballing minds in there. But I've spoken about it, Wilcox, Barada, whoever United are putting into the football side of things, they're just not really improving anything right now, and it just leaves us in the mess that we're in. And this is why I just don't really trust them to get the next manager appointment right. But we're going to have to wait and see what Darren Fletcher can do with his team. Hopefully, Joe goes back to a back four now, as obviously we're lacking in wingers for this team, but overall, we're still far more suited to a back four system, and we've been crying out to go back to that for a few months now. But as always, guys, drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new around here. Stay tuned, as I will do a more in-depth talk about what really got Amorim the sack. So stay tuned for that one. I'll catch you there, guys.